Welcome to the course on Six Sigma roles. In this course we're going to review the various project-based and functional roles in Six Sigma projects. There are no prerequisites for this lesson. We'll begin by exploring some of the critical roles that are part of a project. Then we will understand the various belts in Six Sigma, their roles, and what does it take to be at each level. One of the most critical activities, even more than incisive, decisive and persuasive analysis, is being a strong influencer, with very clear determination of exact deliverable, and to foster a compelling common objective. Because of its importance and how the Six Sigma expert has to deliver a complex result, we will spend time on things which make an expert successful, namely, power structures, social dynamics, the importance of influence and finally, how to use authority. A typical Six Sigma project is going to be a collaborative effort involving both internal and external experts, hence there will be two kinds of people in a project. First, from the external resource perspective, there will be resources who are not from the organization or the department which is the target area of the project. These external resources are generally Six Sigma experts, expected to have an in-depth knowledge of Six Sigma. They are not expected to be experts in the process. It however cannot be emphasized enough that the green belts, black belts and master black belts should be bedrock solid in the domain that is being serviced. The internal resources, on the other hand, are expected to have a strong functional expertise for the area where the project is targeted. Typically the roles that are involved within these internal resources will be sponsor, champion, process owner, and the subject matter experts. Now, let's have a look at the internal resources, their characteristics, and common roles. There are typically 4 different common roles in a Six Sigma project. At the highest level is a sponsor, who is someone at the executive level. A sponsor is the primary customer of the project and also its key evangelist. Sponsors set the direction for the project while also playing a key communicative role at the highest levels of the organization. They will sign off on the project, by approving the defined and drafted charter. The sponsor will also sign off the final project implementation. A sponsor also provides funding for the project. The sponsor is also an enabler, and has the responsibility of approving selection of team members, providing resources, and giving assistance in removing roadblocks in all stages of a project. Interactions and accessibility to a sponsor will be very infrequent. Interactions vary depending upon the involvement of the sponsor, however it is recommended that project leaders do not communicate more than 3 or 5 times, with the sponsor, throughout the duration of the project. At the next level are champions. They're the ones who actually own the project. Champions are those people, directors, executives, managers, etc., who have typical responsibilities or strategic oversight, determining the strategic direction of the project, defining the measures for success, conducting periodic tollgate reviews, resolving resource issues for the team. The champions have to assist in solution implementation. They are also someone who have control over the process, with all the effects and where the project is being executed. Accessibility to a champion will be a little bit more frequent, where you might speak with them maybe once every couple of weeks. A little lower level beneath a champion is the process owner, who is typically a manager or supervisor or someone in a leadership role. They are involved in the final review and in monitoring implemented changes to ensure the project's success. They communicate the results to the highest levels of the organization, and most importantly they help celebrate success with the team. Communication you would have with a champion is going to be much more frequent, at least once or twice a week. A Six Sigma expert has to ensure that a champion is very much engaged, and in full agreement with the progress and direction for the project. Process owners are unique individuals, and are seen as the subject matter experts of a specific and highly critical process and also someone with enough Six Sigma knowledge to bring gravitas to the project. They form the binder in the project, a person who will be effective on both the statistical and the process side. Finally, the last internal role might be a subject matter expert, which might be one or more folks. They're not expected to be someone who's in leadership. A subject matter expert could be someone who has a certain piece of responsibility within the process, and needs to be connected with on an ad hoc or on a need basis. They could just be a support team. They usually have some responsibility in certain pieces of the overall process, but without the same level of ownership and understanding as the other 3 levels. The communication with them will be ad hoc, and depends on when you need them. After a discussion on internal resources, let's understand the external resources in a project. External resources, who can be external to the department, the process or even the organization, are Six Sigma experts, namely, the Green Belt, Black Belt and the Master Black Belt. Yellow Belt trained and certified resources, typically are the process heads, SMEs, and even champions. To understand the external resources, we will begin with comparative characteristics of Green and Black Belts in general. A Green Belt's expertise or knowledge of the concepts is going to be a little bit moderate. It's because they are not using the tools and concepts as frequently, and they are only dedicating part of their time along with their normal job. A Black Belt on the other hand has advanced knowledge and works as a full-time Six Sigma resource. The Green Belt has nearly identical responsibilities as the Black Belt when it comes to projects, but typically Black Belts work on much more complex challenges or problems more dynamic. Black Belts also mentor multiple projects at the same time, something which a Green Belt does not have to do. For getting certified, a Green Belt has to pass a test and show proof of a Green Belt project. Similarly, for a Black Belt certification you will have to undergo rigorous testing, followed by proof of at least 2 multifunctional, highly complex, Black Belt projects. Now, who is a Master Black Belt? A Master Black Belt is a certified Six Sigma practitioner, who has managed at least 10 Black Belt level projects. One of the key responsibilities of a Master Black Belt is to know and teach the Six Sigma approach. A Master Black Belt can coordinate several Six Sigma projects simultaneously. The Master Black Belt commonly works with directors, senior executives, and business managers to assess and plan strategic business objectives. A Master Black Belt also has to find opportunities for synergies among other projects. Now we will list some of the project responsibilities of a Master Black Belt. First, encourage the team to seek causes before solutions. A Master Black Belt has to steer the team towards effective root cause analysis. Track progress. The Master Black Belts have to track project progress and assess the effectiveness of teams. Last but not the least, the Master Black Belt is responsible for the completion of the project. Now let's see how projects are classified. The division is based on a few fundamentals which are not cast in stone, and they vary from organization to organization. Hence we will understand the generally accepted norms of classifying a project. Projects are named as Green Belt, Black Belt and Hive or nested projects. A Green Belt project will have an impact of not more than $1 million annualized. In other words, a Green Belt project will be able to show a saving, or an earning of around $1 million computed over a year. It will impact one or two dependent variables, and for statistical confidence, a Green Belt project will take 3 months or less to close. Finally, the scope of the project will be limited to only a couple of functional areas. On the other hand, a Black Belt project will have a very large impact, typically greater than $1 million per annum. This project will be complex, targeting many dependent variables and hence will take anything upwards of 6 months to close. The scope of a Black Belt project could be across functions, organization etc. Hive or nested projects. This is just another classification of Black Belt projects. They are nested projects, which means their scope is sufficiently large to nest multiple Black Belt projects within the ambit of one large project. A Six Sigma expert must know about the types of social power structures to be effective in doing a project. As we have established, much more than incisive and effective analysis, to close a project successfully, it is important that a Six Sigma expert be very astute, influential and articulate. The first stage to mastering a skill is awareness. Hence we will now touch upon things which will make you, the Six Sigma expert, successful. We will first touch upon power structures. In an upcoming course and workshop, a deep dive will be done on power structures, social dynamics, influence, and authority. Let's try to understand the 6 bases of power, as famously expounded by Robert S. Feldman in his book Social Psychology, Theories, Research, and Applications. The first basis of power is called legitimate power. Legitimate power is power that comes from a position or role. It's the power of authority. For example, the power wielded by your immediate boss. There are some unique aspects of this kind of power. Firstly, this kind of power does not hinge upon rational arguments. Things get done because of the power of authority. For example, more than 90% of the directives of a CEO will be implemented. The second aspect is, the role can be more important than the individual. For example, the king will have this power. It will not be important who the king is at a particular time. Six Sigma experts will have very less chance of using this power, as they will be steering a team of team members, whom they do not have a direct reporting relationship with. Referent power. Referent power is the power of being a role model. It is the power when somebody wants to emulate and be like you. They identify with you. You are their baseline, and their reference. They emulate your behavior or thinking. This kind of power is wielded by rock stars and celebrities. This power can also be developed in a group, where very high standards become the reference model of the group and provide standards and norms of behavior, for everyone. As a Six Sigma expert, endeavor to make a group with a very high standard, so that it becomes the baseline standard for everyone, from sponsor, to SME, to follow and live up to. Next is expert power. Expert power is where expertise or knowledge is the source of power. This is where credentials and proven skills play a part. This is the power enjoyed by doctors, physicians, etc. Team members will show deference to the knowledge demonstrated by a Six Sigma expert. The onus is on the expert to stay true to their skill sets and live up to the standards. Six Sigma experts can make the most of expert power. Coercive power. Coercive power is the ability to deliver punishments. While it can be effective in the short term, it creates resentment and resistance. Six Sigma experts should not use coercive techniques, as this will go against project completion. Reward power. Reward power is the ability to give rewards when others comply with your wishes. Reward power is a formal type of power, and not a personal power. Reward power comes from one's formal authority to issue rewards. Examples of rewards include bonus, pay rise, extra time off, gifts, increased responsibility, etc. As a Six Sigma expert, you may not have the authority to issue tangible rewards, and also due to their inherent nature, tangible awards soon lose their power and usability. Because of this, it is advantageous to use intangible rewards frequently, saving tangible rewards for big successes. The last is informational power. Informational power is the most transitory type of power. Once the information is given, the power is gone. Six Sigma experts should not try and abuse this power by holding on to information, rather, they should use their knowledge and wield expert power.